Michael Rockefeller was born into one of the world's wealthiest and influential families. He was set for life and had a bright future ahead of him. But at just 23 years old, he disappeared during an expedition to New Guinea in November of 1961. It had been thought that he might have drowned. But there were also rumors floating around that might be a little harder to digest. In this video, we are going to look into the disappearance of Michael Rockefeller. Michael Rockefeller was the heir to the Rockefeller family fortune. His father was the governor of New York and his great-grandfather was J.D. Rockefeller, who was the co-founder of Standard Oil. Unlike his family, Michael had no interest in business. He was instead fascinated by indigenous art, other cultures and traveling. He studied history and economics at Harvard University. It is there that he met a filmmaker named Robert Gardner and the two went on an expedition to New Guinea. His father had founded the Museum of Primitive Art and made Michael the trustee. Michael had heard that the Esmont people were very good artists and saw the trip to New Guinea as an opportunity to study their artwork. Whilst there, he played the role of a sound man for a documentary called Dead Birds. This trip wasn't Michael's first to New Guinea. He enjoyed it there so much that he decided to go again to collect some cultural artifacts for the Museum of Primitive Art. He also wanted to take lots of photographs during his next expedition and publish them in a book. On his second trip, he was joined by a Dutch anthropologist named René Wassing. They were also accompanied by two Esmont teenagers. Whilst visiting the Esmont villages, they collected many things from the residents, such as drums, shields, spears and horns. The trip was going just as Michael had hoped it would, until the day of November 17th. The group was attempting to cross the mouth of a turbulent river in bad weather, when their boat unfortunately capsized. The Esmont teenagers were able to swim to the shore to find help. Michael and René spent the entire night clinging onto the capsized boat. At around 8 a.m. the two men were drifting further out to sea. Growing impatient, Michael tied two empty gasoline cans to his waist to use as flotation devices and he made the fateful decision of trying to swim to shore to get help. René tried to get Michael to stay and wait for help, but Michael tells him, "I think I can make it." These were Michael's last words before he began his journey across the crocodile-infested waters. Michael Rockefeller was never to be seen again. René Wassing was rescued the next day by Dutch authorities. He told his rescuers, "Mike is gone. He swam away. I tried to persuade him not to, but I couldn't stop him." On November 23rd, Michael's father and twin sister arrived in New Guinea to help with the search efforts. Over 1,000 Esmont canoes were looking for Michael. A reward of 250 sticks of tobacco was even offered if there was any evidence of Michael found. This was an enormous fortune to the Esmont people. However, the only evidence that may be linked to him was a gaskin floating in the water. Helicopters, planes and boats were used in the search for the missing Rockefeller. But after 2 weeks, the massive search came to an end. His father came to the realization that Michael was no longer with them. He was formally declared dead in 1964 and his death was ruled to be by drowning. It was assumed that Michael had drowned and then his body had been eaten by a crocodile or a shark. But some believe that Michael Rockefeller was actually the victim of cannibalism. It is said that Michael came ashore at the village of Otsjanep. The people of this village were already seeking revenge against a Dutch colonial officer, who 3 years prior, had ordered 5 of the Otsjanep's elite tribesmen to be gunned down, in an attempt to stop them from headhunting. Michael showed up in the wrong place at the wrong time and the people of Otsjanep had consumed him, using his bones to create spears and daggers. His head was retained by the infamous headhunters. By killing Michael, they believed the souls of their murdered tribesmen were finally freed. 2 Dutch missionaries, who had lived amongst the Esmont for years and spoke their language, had told authorities that they had heard that some of the Esmont people had been responsible for killing Michael Rockefeller. An officer investigating the case even produced a skull and said that the Esmonts claim it belonged to Michael Rockefeller. These reports were not further investigated, and Michael's family were told that there was no truth behind the rumors of him being a victim of cannibalism. There is another theory out there. One with possible video evidence. Some people believe that Michael Rockefeller chose to leave his privileged life, for a life amongst the Esmont people. In 1969, A journalist went to New Guinea to capture footage of the Esmots and also investigate the disappearance of Michael Rockefeller. He initially had the idea of using the footage for a documentary, but in the end, he thought that he didn't have enough footage to make a documentary, so he scrapped that idea and wrote a book about his disappearance instead. In 2008, Fraser Heston was researching the subject. He had found out about the existence of the footage from 1969 and had taken a look at it. He came across something quite peculiar. In one of the shots, it looks like there's a light-skinned bearded male who looks strikingly like Michael Rockefeller, paddling a canoe with fellow tribesmen of the Esmot. The true identity of this man is not known, and it most likely never will be known. The same could also be said about the fate of Michael Rockefeller. What do you think happened? Did he meet his fate at the hands of the Esmots? Did he drown trying to find help? Or did he choose to live out the rest of his days as one of the tribesmen? Thanks for watching. If you like this video, be sure to subscribe to the channel.